Okay, let me preface this for any Reddit audio files out there that are coming in with the pitchfork, try to kill me for how dare you make this point, this controversial point. I am not saying that MP3 or any other lossy format is better. I am also going to say that, for example, if you buy music on Bandcamp, right? It does give you the option for multiple formats. I would say the best option is flac by far. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, I'm going to start by saying that a lot of the discussion around audio formats is kind of stupid. I've seen a post in recent times, like I think the other week, from Stupid Tech Takes, highlighting someone saying that the human ear cannot hear the difference between FLAC and MP3. And yeah, that is a bad take. We are capable of hearing the difference. The problem is, do we hear the difference? A lot of people would say, yes, you should be able to. Everyone can tell the difference. But I think it's because their reference point for MP3 isn't the high quality versions. Because the last MP3 they actually downloaded was, I don't fucking know, Limp Bizkit Behind Blue Eyes in 2003, 64 kilobits per second. And it sounded like a pig rolling in mud. Like, of course, that's gonna sound like dog shit, okay? But I think a lot of people are making too much of a ruckus about lossy versus lossless. Because, yes, lossless is better because it is the raw sound. It is the audio as unadulterated as it gets. I am not going to pretend that it isn't. But I think lossy also does a good job at compressing a file down enough so that the audio is still very much more than just enough without suffering quality. And I will start with comparing audio formats. I know that MP3 gets a lot of hate these days, some justified, some not. It is an old format from the early 90s, and that is a huge point of discussion. But I don't think it's as bad as people say. And statistically, in a blind test, if you're made to listen to 10 random songs, FLAC versus MP3, if you sit and focus, you might be able to tell a good chunk of them apart, maybe. But you'll have a hard time. I actually took an blind audio test recently. And yes, I got a pretty good result of, I think, 5 or 6 out of 7. But I had to focus a lot. I had to sit and listen to everything multiple times. And I think that that's kind of where the problem comes from. I'm not saying that you cannot hear a difference. Like, yeah, maybe there is a difference. Like, it's a very slight, subtle one, but there is. But what I'm trying to say is, you're listening to music, right? Whether you're on a walk in the city or just chilling at your computer, are you really going to focus on the small little details? Are you really going to focus on this slight thing that sounds just slightly off? I don't think so. I don't. And with that said, I will go to the next format. M4A, which is the default format of iTunes, actually. And I would actually say it is pretty much what MP3 sought to do, done right. Because it does compress the size, probably even slightly better than MP3, while keeping the audio very close to the original. If you compare the audio between an M4A, especially one that is either converted directly from lossless or iTunes, you will notice that it sounds pretty much how the flac does, more or less. It doesn't lack any of the sounds, it doesn't feel flat, it doesn't have any problems. I would even go as far as to say that I wish M4A became the norm in the 2000s and we moved away from MP3 because of that. I think maybe the stigma wouldn't have been as strong. But, you know, people didn't want to adapt double AC because they wanted to stick to their old MP3 files, I guess. And then there's Vorbis and Opus, which are even better. I would still say that the perfect balance is M4A, like double AC, but Opus is also incredible and does an even better job at being lossy and keeping the audio as intact as it gets. But it is a diminishing result the further you go in. And obviously there's Wave and FLAC, which are lossless. It's the raw audio, what you have on the CD is what you get. It's pretty much the what you see is what you get type of thing. No fancy trickery, no fancy crap, no nothing. And a lot of people prefer doing that. I rip my CDs to FLAC. Despite me making this video, again, I don't even see myself as a hypocrite. I am, again, praising FLAC, and I am saying that that is the go-to format. But at the same time, what I'm trying to say is that people are getting very tribalistic about format wars. There's people who just are really making this huge audiophile discussion. Oh, Spotify is still lossy, Apple Music is lossless, this is that, and to me it just I can't tell the difference. And I think you need really good equipment to do it, and also you gotta, I guess you can say you can have a trained ear, but I think at the same time you also gotta really sit and listen and actually focus on the sound and specifics of it. And I'm gonna be honest, most people can't really tell the difference. I think most of it is just made up, because I think if I was to talk to an audiophile, right, and I saved an M4A or even an MP3, like a good MP3 rip, as FLAC, and I would send a FLAC and an MP3 without looking exactly at the compression, that they couldn't tell the difference. And I think that's kind of what I'm trying to get to. Is there a difference? Yes. Can we hear the difference? Yes, we can. Will we always hear the difference? No. Why? Because we don't care to hear the difference. Keep in mind that non-audiophiles, or people, or even audiophiles in general, a lot of people use wireless earbuds, and you can yap into their ear about how wired is so much better, and also when you listen to music you should connect it to a DAC and have the whole shebang, an audio card, and they won't care. Why? Because they just want the song as they know it, and it sounds the same to them. It's no difference whether it's in FLAC or an MP3, and that's how it is for most people, even people who actually care about these formats, because I care about these formats, and I don't care enough for to make this huge yapping argument about, oh, I'm not going to use this platform because it does lossy. It's okay, it does lossy, but who cares? I buy music off of iTunes. Yes, I'm like one of the 3 people that are like non K-pop stans or Ariana stans or whatever stans that actually buy music on iTunes for the sake of actually having a library. And a lot of people will probably say, "Oh, why don't you use Copas or whatever, or just literally just rip CDs?" And I am ripping CDs, but the thing is, there are some albums that cost a lot on CD or are very hard to find. And I think having them available in some capacity is good. And also Copas, I'm gonna be honest, I don't have the same amount of trust as I do with iTunes. Why? Because it's Apple. It's Apple, and whether we like it or not, Apple's going to probably be here in 100 years. It's going to outlive us. And I know that there's also the concern of, but what if they shut down the iTunes store? I don't think they will. They have no reason to. Sure, it doesn't make as much money as it used to, but it is an integral part of their ecosystem to this day. And I think that with the resurgence of iTunes purchases by stan culture, I think it's here to stay. They quite literally have no reason to take it off. It's not like they have any problems with licensing as far as I'm aware. Pretty much everything that is licensed for Apple Music is automatically also licensed for iTunes. I may be wrong. If I'm wrong and there's like more than 3 people watching this video, please correct me. But anyway, this is pretty much my argument. Really, I don't really have anything else to add. If you have the means and the option to do lossless, do lossless. If you prefer doing lossy because it saves on space, just do lossy. Just please make sure it's in a good quality at least. And if you're one of those Redditors who think, "Oh, but I'm going to condescendingly talk about how lossy is horrible and I am so enlightened because I have the great equipment. I spent $2,000 on golden cables and everything," then I'm sorry. Go fuck yourself, honestly. People, like, a lot of Redditors are wondering why the audiophile community is treated as a joke, and people are kind of looking at them like, but that's how they act. It is a cesspool of just, "Oh, I'm better than you," and I think that's like a huge issue with Reddit in general, and like a lot of Reddit-driven communities. Personally, I'm just of the opinion of, listen to music however you want to listen, and just make sure that you are getting a good version of the song. Like, no 64 kilobits per second. That's all I'm asking. And just enjoy music however you want to. Of course, there's ways that are more optimal, and you can optimize your sound, and I know that that's what audiophiles do. They do optimize for the best quality and everything, but that's not for everyone, and that's okay. If your Apple earbuds that cost $15 are just good enough, go for it, because that's what I do. I'm not using AirPods because I don't like Bluetooth earbuds in general, because of battery drainage more so than quality, honestly. And also they are easy to lose. So I rock wired earbuds. What I do is just I bought both headphone jack and USB-C versions of the earbuds from an Apple store, and they're perfect. They're good quality, good sound, have no complaints, and they're sturdy for $15. If there's one product from Apple that I will always glaze, it's the earpods. I think the only caveat is that the shape is not for everyone, and I remember not being for me years ago, but it's perfect for me. Like I'm just so adjusted to them that I'm just totally cool rocking those. At least when I'm listening to music portably on my phone or on an iPod, because I mean for real, if I want to listen to music in the audiophile way, I would listen to it on a computer or in a more specific setup. I don't care if I don't know, my copy of LF Funk by Black Eyed Peas is MP3, M4A, flac, wave, dot potato. As long as I can hear "Let's Get It Started" just fine, I am totally fine and dandy. Thanks for watching.